What's up, guys? It is of course time for another Mythic Legion's Advent of Decay review. Today we're taking a look at one of the kind of weirder figures in the line. We're taking a look at Boarrior. So that's the half man, half boar figure character dude. Really weird stuff going on here. So we've got him in that standard packaging, and you see him there in that big window with all of his accessories. We've got a bio for him on the side, and then the backer card for this action figure has the same artwork that we see throughout the rest of the line. So let's pull this dude out and take a look. So here we go, guys. We've got our Boarrior figure out of the package. This is one that I've been looking forward to taking a look at just because of the fact that there is some craziness going on with this head. I wanted to see in person, in my hand, how that actually played out, and I definitely have an opinion to put on this one. Of course, we do need to take a look at articulation first, see how this little piggy moves around, and for the most part, it's pretty normal stuff. He does have a little hindrance at the head, but nothing too crazy. He, of course, can spin all the way around. You know, we do have pauldrons for this guy. Once you get those on, that is going to hinder things. But without him, he moves pretty well. He can't go too far down, though, and I see that as a bit of a negative because when you're looking at him straight on, you kind of lose him a little bit because his face is so narrow. He can look up quite a bit, though, and then he's got bobble. Arms go out, rotate all the way around. We've got rotation at the elbow. We've got rotation at the forearm, rotation at the wrist, hinge there, single jointed elbow, waist, swivel, back and forth a little bit. Legs go out, kick, kick, thigh cut. You've got swivel at the knee, swivel at the ankle, hinge at the knee. We've got hinge at the ankle, and then of course we do have a rocker. So if you're familiar with the dwarves in any capacity, or you know, goblins at this point, it's the same stuff there. So it's all that same kind of body style. He's basically built on a dwarf body. The only real difference is that he has hooves and that he has that. Now, as far as the look and feel of this figure are concerned, I, in general, like the way he looks. I do have some reservations when we get to the head, but they kind of get played out a bit later on, depending on how you want to display this guy. So I'd like, for starters, the immense amount of weathering on this otherwise silver armor. I think in general he looks really fantastic. Again, this is a lot of parts reuse, so you know, we're looking at the same kind of body that you would see on dwarves and on the Gonks figure recently that I've looked at. So it's that kind of body. Tons of, you know, rivets and line work and individual paint details from the different colors, all of this dry brushing to make him look like he is, you know, really worn and weathered. We do have a tail. You have to put this thing on yourself. It is ball jointed. I figured we'd talk about it now. It doesn't move a great deal, but it does move around a little bit. You can kind of rotate it up and down a little bit. So it gives him a little more life. He's a pig. He's a boar. He needs a tail. They gave him one. So I like that. I really do like his color scheme. I think the colors work really, really nicely for this particular suit of armor. Where it's kind of lost, though, and again, it's going to depend on how you display this guy, is in his headdress. So he's got the coppery brown headdress, but then his armor's silver. We'll talk more about that when we get into the pauldrons, when we look at accessories and stuff like that. But I think if you're displaying him like this, he kind of looks weird to me. And then when you get in on that head, there's a little bit that I find to be off-putting here as well. Now, you can fix this with the pauldrons a little bit, but just on its own, you know, because this is the quote-unquote base configuration for this figure, I think this head is way too big. When you're looking at him like this, something about it just doesn't look right to me. I can't see this head having this body. It just doesn't look necessarily right to me. Something's kind of off-putting. It's kind of weird. I do think the head is really nicely done, though. I like his headdress in the confines of just the head itself. I like the sculpt on the head. I really like the fur aspect they've got going on. I like the two unique tusks that he has. He's got those deep sunken eyes, and there's a little bit of a wash in his fur as well. So everything is, you know, expertly done. It's all very nicely crafted, and it all looks fantastic. I just don't think when you're looking at him like this specifically, that he comes across all that well. I feel like there's a little bit of something that's lost in translation just because of the fact that the head is so absolutely massive, and when you're looking at him from the side on a profile, I mean, they just don't seem to match. But of course you can affect that a little bit with the accessories that he comes with. Now, as far as accessories go for our pig man here, we do have about as many as I would expect to get. I'm going to start talking about the pauldrons first, though, because this is where I think you can affect the look of this guy the most importantly. So we've got these really large pauldrons. They look a lot bigger on this body than, you know, they would on others, just because he's kind of small. And these really help tie in some of the looks on this guy. So these are not required. You know, the stick with these is that you can have 2 on, you can have 0 on, you can have 1 on either side, and just do a lopsided kind of thing. So for this particular figure, though, I really think they're necessary personally, because not only do they help tie in the color on his headdress to the, you know, kind of flow down the figure a bit more, rather than it just being the kind of copper brown just to silver. It's like there's that color all over the top of the figure, and the rest kind of blends in nicely. But beyond that, though, it makes him not look so crazy in terms of scale, because like I said, the head on this guy is just out of this world. It's so big, and when you have it on this body, it looks out of place. But when you have it with these pauldrons, it looks a little better. It helps to clean it up a bit and make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. So I like them. They've got a nice kind of pitted look on there. Some of the pitting on them has actually got some gold fill in there, so that looks kind of nice. Beyond that, though, we've got a handful of weapons and stuff like that. We do, of course, have the adapters, which I talk about every time. We've got the little sheath you can put on his waist. We have got a handful of weapons. So we have got this kind of cudgel weapon. It's a silvery chrome with a lot of wash on it. I don't know that I've seen this one just yet. I like it. He can hold it in either hand just fine. We have got a dwarf style two-sided hammer, or a double-sided hammer, and then we've got you know, a lot of the same kind of looks and embellishments that's on the cudgel, the mace. This is the same kind of weapon we see a lot with dwarves. Halmir Golden Tooth, for example, has this, and you can swap out the sides on them. So this one actually was off in the package. You have to pop it on, but you can swap it out with others if you got the right finish, or if, you know, you have something that looks correct for that. But the coolest weapon for me is this guy here, this crazy bone axe, and I just love the aesthetic. This to me looks like it fits with a boar man. These two definitely go with the dwarven kind of aesthetic here, but this is what really does it for me. It's got this nice bone with the leather wraps on there, and the curved blade with a lot of wash. It looks like it's been in some muck and some goop, so this one works for me very well. He can hold you know, all of these in each hand just fine, and he can hold the larger hammer in both hands simultaneously if you want. So tons of stuff for this figure as usual, and of course I think we've got a pretty good winning combination when you throw those pauldrons on him. So at the end of the day, I think Boarrior is a pretty solid figure. I, of course, like I mentioned, do think that the head is way too big for this body, until, of course, you get the pauldrons on him. I think the pauldrons really help kind of even things out. But other than that, the head on its own, without those, really just doesn't look like it belongs. It looks like it's on a different figure's body, and it just looks like they're mismatched parts. Like maybe he should have had a beefier body or something like that. Maybe something along the lines of a minotaur rather than a dwarf. But when you put the pauldrons on, things aren't too bad. And at the end of the day, he's a pig man, and for some reason, I really like pig men-based figures, so I couldn't not have him, and I can get over that kind of stuff. The rest of the figure is just the same kind of Mythic Legions quality you would expect, so there's really nothing crazy there. And he comes with some pretty cool weapons too. I really dig that crazy axe that he has. So that's going to do it for this look at the Mythic Legions Advent of Decay Boarrior figure from 4 Horsemen. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.